Right, so we are talking about depression today. Nice little subject, okay? So this has actually been following me around a little bit, and I'm sure anyone who's like literally understands depression knows that this shit is not easy to shake off. And it just fucking subtly just settles in, doesn't it? Yeah, so it's not blessed. And I'm basically on the tail end of this like 2 week depression I've been in. And I've got some tips to help, and also basically I wasn't sure whether I wanted to talk about this for some time. I was trying to actually avoid it a little bit, but it's just been following me so much for the past 2 weeks that I was like, shit, son, it's actually, I wanted to talk about some other things today, and I was like, this has to be talked about first. So yeah, let's get into it. All right. So there's two things which I've really understood on how to get over depression, or really understand it so that we can break out of it. Really, that's what it is. And it's easy to say, depression doesn't exist, but when you're in it and you're just there, like at this point of time, I've gone through it enough times where I don't embrace it fully, because I know that shit is like an endless pit of rock bottom. But what I do feel is that there's this looming feel. Yeah, it's like a looming anxiety or a looming depression, which is just like something which I don't really want to recognize, but I know it's there. So there's two things which have really helped me get over it. And there's one the first one is stretching. Actually, I've heard about this from someone else before, but what I've noticed is since I've started stretching for it's been about maybe 6 months, I've been stretching nearly every day, and at least like 4 times a week or something when I do gym 3 other days of the week. But the stretching is really actually what's more important, I think, in the fact that it actually keeps a routine going. And when I don't gym, I really feel this like, not when I don't gym, when I don't stretch, I really feel this like inability to like fulfill my day. It's just routine, and it's so nice to just feel like I'm actually like feeling my whole body, stretching it out, and just really understanding my presence in a way. And I can't remember the quote, but it's the body basically dictates the mind in some ways, and so pushing forward in that sense really helps our mind feel the moment as well. So I'm gonna link the stretching that I've been doing, which has been fucking great, man. And over the time that I've been doing it, I've been able to understand how to do it better in terms of how to like really straighten out my legs when I'm doing certain like lunge type stretches, and also how to breathe through the motion so that I'm really feeling everything. Just, it's strange how when you breathe clearly whilst you're stretching, like you feel clicks, like core clicks that are really like the foundation of our whole body. It's very strange, but yeah, that's really one which I've noticed has been a really key factor in sort of lowering my depression and just easing out of it, really. And also a key notification, it notifies me that I'm actually going into depression when I'm not stretching so much. I feel the extra focus on depression as opposed to the lessened effect. Okay, and the second one now is weirdly, so I was going to mention it, but there's also a book which I've just finished reading, and one of the last chapters is about trading, and it's like self-help. That's basically what trading becomes. It turns into like a self-help journey. And the last chapter was about something called ask for help. And it's interesting. I was like, what is this? Ask for help. I'm not going to talk to other people about whatever I'm going through. And then it's actually talking about journaling, and how when we're journaling, we're asking for help. And strangely enough, okay, so I was going to talk about journaling, but strangely enough, just before I read that, I did some journaling, and I was able to really come to a conclusion. I didn't actually understand it until after I'd read that chapter, and I was like, I've journaled, okay, and I've got my, journaling has always been great. I've journaled, and I come up with some sort of like understanding, some answer, and he mentioned it in his book. The ask for help was basically asking yourself for help, and it could be for 5 minutes, it could be for 20 minutes, where you're just writing nonstop, and you basically deduct your feelings, your problems, your raw your raw psyche, as he says, as if it's in a psych ward, and you deduct it down to, as he says, the lowest denominator. And how I'd say is simplifying the problem into one sort of understanding, basically. And the one I reread the journal that I did, and I understood, like, I actually literally, the last sentence I wrote basically said, don't allow toxic inputs. And so for me, that had three things actually, in terms of smoking, nicotine. I've been really wanting nicotine, like, for no reason other than I'm upset with the world. And so that was a real answer to that in that journal, that I didn't want nicotine. That's a toxin, 100%. And then the second one was my family, my stepmom. She's fucking outrageous. She's too much, man. And so that came to an answer that she was a toxin, and that I can't be letting her into my life in any sense. Like, straight up, she's fucking outrageous. She's not helpful at all. She's got no mental intelligence, no emotional intelligence, and so she's just chaotic. You know, all the inside thoughts that you have, which you would never say, she says, which is great, because in some ways she's not saying, like, you know, I'm gonna kill everyone, but she is, you know, taking the piss out of you and stuff, and she's being honest, and that's just toxic. It's toxin, and that's a bad input. And then the third one is other people. So I allow people into my life who I think are good, and I've done this. This month has been very good, because I've realized quite quickly that I've got to let go of people a lot faster. And that's what I'm actually quite proud of, is that it's only been, you know, a month of me depending on someone and realizing that they're actually quite a toxin in my life. In the input is not what I need. It's not what I want. It's not what my experience and wisdom has brought me to this point, to just allow a completely diverted direction that I know I've moved away from in my life. And things are only getting better, in the sense that, you know, we become more experienced, we become wiser, and we understand that certain directions are not the way that we want to go, which can be it can cause disrespect to ourselves. You know, we can have a lack of self-respect, and we can just start to become more toxic to ourselves, just because someone else who has entered our life has not got the respect for themselves, in the sense that, you know, there's certain toxic things which we can see in other people, which we've learnt from, we've grown out of, and it takes, you know, some people, everyone's growing in different ways, and so the individual things that we know are really about our growth and our evolution, and becoming the intellectual, wise people that we know we are becoming from the experiences that we've grown out of. And the thing with depression is that it really gains wisdom in us, in the fact that we know where the bad turnings are. And I say it, to me, this is what I call God, but I know other people may call it other things, like signs or something. But this is what directs us towards the good and away from the bad. And the bad is really the depression. I mean, we learn so much from depression, and coming out of each part of our depression, we find out that direction is, you know, is not good, and so we direct ourselves away, and subconsciously we're helping ourselves, and we're becoming wiser. And so the depression it's bad, but it's also, there's lessons upon it which makes us into a greater person, and helps us become better people in ways that we may not have realized if we hadn't gone through certain depressions. So yeah, this is something I really needed to talk about, because depression I'm on the tail end of it. I'm getting out of it now, but the past 2 weeks have been super like looming depression and anxiety, and I'm coming out of it. And yeah, it's great when you're coming out of it. It's like, oh my gosh, like that was an experience, okay? And that's where the wisdom comes from too. Yeah, so keep being a boss, keep beasting it, constant never-ending improvement, and one love. Come on, let's go.